Welcome to Dialogues for Change. Life is not a void to be filled. It is a plenitude to be discovered. Today, I would like to share with you some thoughts by Raymond Panikkar on a dwelling place for wisdom. Very often we talk about wisdom, or we look for wisdom, we try to find wisdom, and we forget that maybe wisdom may come if we prepare a nice dwelling place for it. A dwelling place is not a garment. It is not an individual affair, not a kind of private salvation. It is not for me. I cannot simply occupy, manipulate, and enjoy wisdom. I cannot simply use it, not even for some beneficial cause, nor can I use it up or abuse it. Intellect, on the other hand, can be manipulated and used as a weapon. One can wrestle with intellect and win. One can overpower and persuade the less informed. The same is true for reason. But it would be contrary to wisdom's nature to use it as a weapon, as a tool for a specific purpose. Wisdom is not an object. It is not even useful. It is good for nothing. It is not a servant. It is completely superfluous. It exists only where there is abundance, only where wisdom is allowed to overflow out of its plenitude. One cannot adorn oneself with wisdom. One cannot attain wisdom. One cannot conquer, capture, and comprehend wisdom, and then perhaps use it for a good cause. In short, no sort of individualism will ever locate wisdom. The term dwelling place, oikos, in the Septuagint, does not at all mean what one might take it for nowadays. A more or less comfortable shelter which defends us, etymologically speaking, and which contains all necessary amenities for our well-being, so that our lives will be comfortable and to a certain degree joyful. Building a dwelling place for wisdom does not mean to furnish wisdom with a shelter to live in. It is a sign of this modern culture, obsessed with numbers, that in almost all cities, houses and also streets have lost their names or never had them in the first place. Instead, houses are distinguished by numbers. Building a dwelling place does not mean overcoming some kind of homelessness. The moment I know I have private property for which I own 7 keys, where I can enjoy the dividends of wisdom. The oft-decried homelessness of the modern person resides from the fact that scientific cosmology is not able to offer the person a human dwelling place. The scientific world is no dwelling place. The person is lost in the quantitative desert of an expanding universe and the chain of millions of years reaching back to our animal ancestors. The person is homeless because the scientific worldview has lost the human dimension, and even more so because this worldview's dwelling place has not been erected by wisdom, but by an extrapolating calculation. In such a universe, it is impossible for the person to feel at home. Little wonder that mobility has become a characteristic of modern society. Millions of tourists are only roaming about, taking tours. US citizens change their addresses once every 4 years on average. A home that has not been built by wisdom is not a home. Hence, the first dimension of a dwelling place is the world as our homeland. The world is a dwelling place for all, for the homeless, the poor, the people. Bonaventure speaks in true Franciscan manner of wisdom as multifaceted, so that it can be experienced in many ways and become nebulous to the proud and plain to the lowly. Wisdom is not complicated. It is not the sum total of many facets of knowledge, not even of multitudinous experiences. One cannot pile up and accumulate wisdom. There can never be a capitalization of wisdom, Rather, the dwelling place is a caravanserai, an inn for caravans, with courts under open sky for each pilgrim in this world. May I interpret Meister Eckhart's seclusion, Abgeschiedenheit, as an exclusion from every kind of exclusivism? Man resides in an inhabited and habitable world. One cannot experience wisdom unless one regards the whole world as one's own homeland. This is more difficult for modern men, though at times less dangerous than for former generations, since the average modern man lives in a world devoid of angels, ghosts, gods, winds, and other such beings. The city dweller does not live with animals in forests. Hence we are unable to experience the world as a dwelling place by regarding ourselves solely as isolated atoms in a quantitative universe. We can no longer experience what astrology taught and Gregory the Great once proudly commented on. Man is not made for the stars, but the stars for man. Thomas Aquinas enforces this view. The wise person rules even over the stars. Thus, both men acknowledge the premise of astrology, namely that the person is connected with the stars. They only reject the subjection of the person to the stars' constellations. In a word, the primary dwelling place of wisdom is our universe, our world, and still more concrete, our Mother Earth. In this way, I understand the word ecosophy, which is to be distinguished from the word ecology. Here is not the place to criticize the urge of this culture to leave this planet, an urge modern technology allows us to imagine as a certain possibility. One might interpret it as a fuga mundi, flight from the world. However, such a trip would not be a departure from Earth, but an escape from self. This syndrome contains a basic idea that is relevant to our topic. If one does not feel comfortable on Earth, if Earth is not a dwelling place for wisdom, then it is not surprising to dream of interstellar travels and to imagine leaving Earth. Then Earth is only some sort of blanket on which we gravitate because of Newton's law of gravity, on which we sit. It is something to which we have no inner relationship. The shaman is concerned with something totally different when leaving the physical body in order to commence the trip to heaven. The shaman leaves Earth with the purpose of returning to it and of bringing back something of the hidden wisdom for helping others. Such a trip is not an escape from Earth, because Earth is still the dwelling place. Modern space trips, on the other hand, are an anthropological alienation, not to be compared with the urge of the Argonauts. Dwelling place also means house. It is a building to be constructed. Proverbs 9:1 does not speak of a habitat. It talks about the activity of building a temple, a house, a dwelling place. Oikodomeo, edificare, oika, eides. One might translate it as to make a dwelling place livable, to furnish it as a dwelling place by means of moving into it. An uninhabitable or an actual uninhabited dwelling is no dwelling place at all. Just as an unsung song is no song. But we are concerned here not with the meta-political aspect of the activity of dwelling, but with the political aspect. Politics means here the public activity of the person, the human activity in the polis, and not the special occupation of the politician. Our text calls it a dwelling place, not a cave or a ditch, and certainly not hell, a hidden place or an esoteric mystery. The real mystery is open and accessible. True wisdom is simple, and therefore perhaps hard to locate, but it certainly is not elitist. Nothing is hidden except in order to shine forth. Mark 4:22. Truly esoteric teaching is not another doctrine, but the invisible side of exoteric teaching. It remains invisible to those who have eyes but cannot see. The big secret is that there is no secret. The mysterious text of Shaivism from Kashmir says, the secrets of the heart, which the person wants to hide, become conspicuous to all. The Chang Chang says. A dwelling place is neither a cave for the perfect, nor a castle for the privileged. It is a home for all. Life is not a void to be filled. It is a plenitude to be discovered. I hope that these inspirations today on opening up some space for a dwelling place for wisdom inspired you on this Sunday, 30th of March, 2014.